Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. I was the oops baby when I guess my parents had plans to just have one baby. Apparently, my mom wasn't aware of the fact that she was pregnant with me until the eighth month, until it was too late to terminate me. And my parents have made sure to let me know of that ever since I quite literally gained consciousness. It wasn't just through their words, but their actions showed the same. They made sure to always show me that my brother Vincent was their top priority. It was like they had tried to set me up for failure from the get go, starting off from sending me to a public school while Vincent went to a private one. He had his college paid off completely while I had to depend on scholarships and other examples I honestly didn't want to bother talking about. Well, during high school, at least until junior year, I wasn't the brightest of students. I lacked confidence, was shy, and just didn't know of my capabilities until junior year came around. I made a few friends who just kind of pulled me into their world and turned me like them in the best ways possible. I started working hard while playing hard, and that is what landed me one of the top ranks in my school and got me my full ride to college for a degree in computer science in one of the best universities in the USA. This wasn't enough for my parents, though, because according to them, a computer science degree wouldn't ever take me as far as a business degree, Vincent's major, would take me. Honestly, by the time I had gotten to college, I had reached a point in life where I honestly couldn't give any less of a shit as to what my parents said about me, and so just continued my education, all the while reducing contact with them as each day passes by. This is also about the time that my brother started slipping up. The college air hit him too hard, and unfortunately, so did the poor company he was around. He had started taking drugs, and by the time he graduated, he knocked up a girl and dropped out because of his horrible GPA. Still, according to my parents, none of this was his fault because, after all, it was his friends who forced their little angel of a son to do everything. Well, there began his journey of coming in and out of rehabilitation, relapsing over and over while his pregnant girlfriend, who was kicked out of her family, lived with my parents. I graduated from college, landing a great job immediately while my brother was working at McDonald's. Another couple of years passed like this. My parents continued to berate me for one reason or another while babying my brother, who continues to make one mistake over the other. And one day, I just decide I have had enough. I do nothing, simply just stop contacting them, and they do nothing to reach back to me. At that point, I had started working on my business along with a couple of my friends from back from college, and so being caught up with that, I honestly didn't have much time to even think about it. During this time span, I met my wife, got married, and had my first child. Needless to say, my life was already heavenly, and it just got better as recently my business that just took off had a conservatively successful second year, and as a result, an interview was aired of me and my business partners talking about entrepreneurship at such a young age. I guess my family finally got up from their graves and remembered that they had another son too. Suddenly, I was receiving calls after calls and text after text, all of them congratulating me and praising me for my success. Hell, my mom even texted me expressing her love for me for probably one of the very first times and inviting me over for dinner. I honestly wasn't planning to go, but as I was discussing this to one of the partners in my business, he encouraged me to go and get my ego boost. This is when my mind kind of dwindled, and I thought how right he was, how I deserved the satisfaction after everything they had put me through. I knew they were going to definitely ask me for money, and so I even thought about what I was going to do. It was like I had a whole plan in my mind, but when I told my wife about it, she kind of got mad, telling me how I was wrong for taking advantage of vulnerable people by doing this. Usually, my loving wife, who is on my side, kind of leached out at me, making me question my decision. So, Reddit, what should I do here? Would I be the a-hole if I go to this family dinner to get the last laugh with no intentions of helping my family who were toxic to me all my life? After reading all your replies, I said, F it. I need to go to this family dinner. I know, I know. All of your replies were pretty conflicting. Some berating me, some berating my wife. But after showing her the replies on this post, she left it up to me, and there I am, getting ready to leave for the first and last ever dinner I am going to have with my family who love me. I guess curiosity took over my wife too, as she decided to accompany me at the dinner as well. So far, we have picked out some snacks to take over. I'm quite excited for tomorrow and excited to update you all with everything that goes down. The entitlement hit the roof as I went to the family dinner today. Honestly, at the beginning, I almost felt a sense of vulnerability take over me as I walked through the same house I grew up in. It was like all the memories flashed back as I scanned through all the small corners of the house, remembering all the memories, good as well as bad, because of course there was no way that I had only bad memories in here. Well, we're welcomed by my sister in law and we walk inside the house. Yes, my brother has now married the same woman who he had gotten pregnant back in college, and they now have two kids together. My heart immediately melted as soon as I was greeted by my little niece, who came running to me and handed me her little toy. Well, after greeting the little champ, my parents walked in too, along with my brother. I would be lying if I said all the adults in the house looked stressed and tensed up. Their faces immediately said money problems, and honestly, it was a weird feeling to sink in. Realizing that these were the same people who previously told you that you weren't going to land up anywhere, now standing in front of you being the ones who hadn't landed anywhere in life. Well, we sat down and had a cup of coffee, talking about here and there, my parents being extremely sweet to me. I still remember thinking about how it felt like they were trying to catch up with all the time they hadn't been kind to me all at once, because obviously I was soon going to be their walking bank account. Well, we talk, and I discover that both my sister in law and brother work minimum wage jobs while my parents continue their jobs. I guess that was enough formality and that was enough niceness that they could show to me because my mom immediately cut to the chase. She started off by talking about my brother, talking about how weird life was to lead us both in completely different directions, yada yada. She continued by talking about how much they had been struggling and how much it broke her heart to see both of her sons not enjoying the same amount of success. This was the part I couldn't hold it in and began to laugh. I cleared it to her that she was only happy because I was on top and her golden child wasn't. How, if I was in place of Vincent, I would probably be left for dead. This kind of shocked everyone, including Sophie, Vincent's wife. I guess they expected me to be the same old quiet and non confrontational person that I previously was, but of course, a lot has changed. Well, I guess my dad thought talking to me in a milder way would help them, so they started talking about offering my brother a job at my business. How it's just an opportunity that my brother needs, and how I should think about my niece and nephew. I admit this hit the spot for me, and I told him the only thing that I could offer my brother was a low paying job, nothing at corporate level because of his lack of degree. Well, of course, this wasn't enough for my parents because as we know at this point, my brother only deserves the best, even if it means that he hasn't worked hard for it. That is when my fuse kind of blows off and I tell my parents to pound sand and get up to leave. But before, of course, I need to put my plan in action, the moment of satisfaction that I've been waiting to see for the longest. I pulled out the envelope from my pocket, placing it on the table. The envelope was still crisp, almost like new. That's how much I had protected it because that is what kept me grounded all along. But I knew now it was about time that my parents got grounded. So I just placed the envelope on the table, thanked them for it, and left. My parents knew what I was talking about, so they just looked at each other. My wife and I walked out and handed the bag of goodies to the kids before hugging them goodbye. By then, Sophie came running behind us and handed me a piece of paper which consisted of her number, and it simply just said, "I need help." So this is where I'm at currently, conflicted once again. What should I do here? Should I call her? My wife suggests I should, but I'm not sure. Any advice? Hi all. I stopped updating this post because I kind of forgot about it, but hey, I'm here and with an update. So basically, I ended up contacting Sophie, who explained to me how she was stuck in this house after falling pregnant with my nephew and had been wanting to leave for the longest. She said she wanted to work for my company, regardless of how low the position was, and needed help to get out of the house. I agreed and gave her the job as well as a bit of financial support for the kids. Sophie is truly a good person, at least this far. Within 3 months at the job, she's made plenty of progress, and I honestly feel like she can make a great asset to our company if she can complete that one last semester of college that she left to give birth to my nephew. She has been saving up to hire a lawyer for divorce, and so far, I think she's been doing a good job at that too. I think I will also add on to it after a couple of months of her being here. I just want to make sure that she is as genuine as I think she is. She hasn't told Vincent or my parents about her switch of work, and honestly, they do not care as long as she's bringing in the money. As for my nieces and nephews, I have started a trust fund for them to which they will have access to once they turn 20, and once Sophie finalizes her divorce with my brother, I will be offering to pay for her last semester in college. And that's all. I'm not sure if this is the update you guys wanted or expected, but I think this was overall a good update. I was able to help someone out of a situation I once was in. Sophie is someone who wants to help herself, and I see a lot of potential in her. I hope she's able to achieve that and provide for a better life for my nieces and nephews without having to be parented by a shitty excuse of a father as Vincent is. NTA. But do you really want to be as petty as they are? I feel like visiting them would cause you more troubles than satisfaction, but if you wouldn't be wrong for doing it. NTA, go get that petty revenge, OP. You owe that much to yourself after achieving everything that you have. AITA for getting blood work. So I, female 18, have been experiencing pain in my stomach for almost a month or two now. I've been waking up in the middle of the night almost puking and with my stomach hurting. The pain on the scale from 1 to 10 is at 100. I thought during those times I'd need to go to ER, but never did, hoping they would just go away. Well, my mom, 51, is a nurse and believes she knows everything going on with my medical life. Ever since I was a baby, she was the one who made decisions on my medical stuff. I was adopted at birth and soon found out I had asthma. Ever since I was little, she was the one who told the doctors how I felt and would be the one who handled everything, rarely letting me get a word in. She became a nurse my freshman year of high school. Well, when I explained to my mom the pain I was having in my stomach, she told me that I should talk to my doctor when I went to get my med refill. Well, she doesn't like this doctor because they kicked her from being allowed to come back there due to refusing treatment or anything they said other than the med refill, and now believes they are only trying to get money from us. Well, I had a med check today and I told the doctor what was going on with my stomach and that I have been feeling very under the weather lately. She wanted to do blood work, which wasn't crazy, and even told me she didn't want to do anything expensive unless absolutely necessary, and I agreed. I got my blood drawn and got in the car with my mom. I explained it to her, what was happening, and that they drew blood, and now she's mad at me, saying I should have kept my mouth shut even after she told me to tell the doctor what was going on with my stomach, and now she's denying saying it, telling me that she told me to just do the med check and nothing else, which she didn't tell me, and is now mad at me and not talking to me, even locked herself in her bedroom. So, am I the a-hole? Did I do something wrong? My mom called and has told them to not do the blood work and that she's now moving me from that doctor, saying that she's going to take me off of her insurance if I ever do it again. And I'm going to have my own at the hospital. But she's now telling me that I will be required to pay her for the blood work. And the problem is, I now don't have a doctor. And she lied to them, saying that I did it without her consent, which the doctor I went to was the one who ordered them. I didn't realize that the insurance wouldn't cover it since I've had it done before. So now I won't be getting any results, and she's mad at me. She hung up on me after yelling at me, and I feel very defeated and confused as to what I should do now. I'm terrified of sleeping now because I'm worried I'm going to end up waking up in pain again. NTA. It's very suspicious she doesn't want tests done to see what's wrong. When you get sick, is it after you eat or drink something? Does your mom typically make your food? Maybe make your own food for a while and see if that makes a difference. Maybe you have a food allergy and could try an elimination diet to find the culprit. Also, in the US, at least 18 is old enough to make your own medical decisions. Your mother has zero say. Maybe call your original doctor who ordered the blood work and tell them your mother is making it difficult to receive proper medical care and to please disregard any phone calls from her and that she should not be given any of your medical information. I would also look into if you could report her for medical neglect. NTA, please report your mother to whoever is in charge of regulating nurses wherever you live. My wife's mother has a massive ego. Some examples include wearing what could have been a wedding gown to our wedding in a shade of pale blush, so bridal. Sulking when we got engaged because she wanted to get engaged despite not having anyone in mind, announcing how beautiful her hair was at father-in-law's funeral, demanding my wife's pregnancy not interfere with her destination wedding when she did get remarried, and sulking because our daughter was named after two other family members and not her. I see the effect it has on my wife. Father-in-law always pitted them against each other because he was gross, and she feels like she has always had to compete with her mom. I'm not okay with that. Recently, we had a photo shoot for our daughter's first birthday. Everyone was supposed to wear jeans and a white shirt, any white shirt, so mother-in-law could be somewhat fashionable. Mother-in-law made a whiny comment about how her husband doesn't own jeans, so now she has to go shopping. I flat out told her I wasn't aware his legs didn't work. She looked confused, and I said he can go shopping himself. So in mother-in-law's mind, this photo shoot was off to a bad start. The day of mother-in-law showed up wearing a white top and a blue floral skirt. The flowers were really small, so it would mostly blend in, but I was furious that she couldn't follow directions. I asked my wife if she was okay with it, and she said, "Oh, you know how she is." I went up to mother-in-law and asked what happened to the denim. Mother-in-law said she wanted to wear a skirt and doesn't like jean skirts, and she just feels more comfortable in skirts. She wears a lot of skirts and dresses, but isn't against wearing pants. This was also short and tight with a slit, so I guess I know why she felt so comfortable. I told her that she would not be able to participate in the pictures. She protested that it wasn't fair as it was close enough on her granddaughter's birthday, but I said, "Too bad, so sad." Her husband stood up for her and said she just wasn't comfortable in plain jeans and a white shirt. But I ignored them and we didn't let her in a single photo. NTA, you teach people how to treat you. Now, she knows she can't just do whatever she wants when it comes to your family. I'm sure she also had time to tell you that she wanted to wear a skirt instead. She chose not to say anything and just rock up to the photo shoot as she wanted. She learned a lesson that day. Is this incredibly petty? Yes. Do I understand why you were being petty? Also, yes. If I'd found myself in a similar situation with a similar backstory, I might not have done this, but at the very least, I'd have been sorely tempted or would have anticipated a not invited mother in law to the photo shoot in the first place. Unless this really upset your wife, I'm going to go with NTA.